Welcome to Empire Wars! And today spawning on the east side of the map, playing in yellow, we've got Lucifron playing as the English. And his opponent today in the southwest, playing in blue, his brother playing as the Chinese. We've got Vortix. Welcome everyone to this Age of Empires forecasted game on Kawasan. The map for today is an interesting one, a map we haven't seen all that often. Not only that, but the game mode is Empire Wars. As you can see, 25 villages apiece for both players already. It cuts out a little Dark Age, and it means that things are sped up very quickly. And we're going to be seeing both players going to the east side pond first, so they're going to be battling it out for that water, which, oh wait, hang on a minute. Well, looks like Vortex going on for the left one as well, so he's going to go for double docking, one on each pond. Now, considering that you can kind of usually afford 2 docks, nice and early-ish, it'd be interesting to see how Lucifron decides to play this one as well. Does he go for 2 docks on this east pond, or does he go for 1 on each, just like Vortex has? Now, Vortex is struggling a little bit on the wood for that second dock, because, of course, he's actually trained a spearman nice and early, going to just try and harass if there's any villagers coming on this side. But little does he know, it's actually going to be a double dock on the east side pond here today for Lucifron. And, well, the council hall is going to be the landmark of choice for Lucifron to get to that next age, the feudal age. So that's an interesting kind of state of affairs, because the Chinese are going to be behind a little bit. There's no real indication of going to that next stage just yet. It's pumping out spearmen just to try and hamper the efforts here for Lucifron. It's going to be trying to start torch down the docks, but the trouble is that opening spearmen is actually really rough for the Chinese and Vortex, because Lucifron is already up to the next stage, which you kind of get quite easily with the Empire Wars format. And being the next stage, you've got the council hall. Longbows are going to be coming out before too long. And these spearmen are going to be pretty useless when those guys come out. So you might be able to take out one of the docks. Possibly. I'm not sure if he manages to do so, because there are man-at-arms on the field now for Lucifron. I think generally, what's interesting, the dynamic, the fact that Empire Wars is a thing, it really changes things. It kind of makes the situation very difficult for civilizations that kind of value early aggression, because you kind of skip ages and you kind of, as you can see, Lucifron going to get to that feudal age very quickly. It's where they have a very big power spike, the English, with the longbowmen. But also they have the man-at-arms that can deal a lot of damage in the Dark Age. And I think generally English is very strong on this map, Kawasan. Not only because of the land prowess that they have, but also the fishing and the navy. Because of course they get cheaper military and fishing boats. And the Chinese do actually produce the fishing ships a little bit faster. But yeah, other than that, I mean, they've got a very good economy in terms of supervision with the Imperial Official. But I think generally, like in the early parts of this game, the English should be having an advantage. So even without longbowmen, he's pushing away the spearman with his man-at-arms. And Lucifron looking to be in a good spot here. Well, wheelbarrow is in play for the Chinese. I think generally with the dynamic, you should expect Chinese to have a bit of a stronger mid-game. Like the castle age should be a bit stronger possibly. And we'll have to see, especially if they start pumping out palace guards. But we'll see, because of course the English can have a really good strong late game if it gets to that situation in the Imperial Age. With the enclosures technologies in the mill, getting the gold from each farmer. But of course, with plenty of gold on the map, it shouldn't really be a problem for the Chinese, apart from, obviously, the main benefit, or a big benefit for enclosures at least, is the population space that's saved by, needing less villagers on gold as such. But lots of things to consider, lots of dynamics. But now with both players in the feudal age, and Lucifron having actually prioritized land military in the early parts of his feudal age to counter the spears, which he's actually doing a decent job of now with the longbowmen. They're adding in a bit of damage, but obviously he needs a little bit more there. Here comes a junk there for the Chinese, and a springle ship for Lucifron. So Lucifron's going to win that early fight on water, it seems, because of course he's got the counter unit. So this is a bit tricky here for Vortex. He's going to need to get a demolition ship. He's actually going to go for a springle ship first and try and dish out some damage, but he's going to struggle here, it seems. He might need naval arrow slits, but no, none of the players are on stone at the moment, so that doesn't seem like that's going to be happening. Man-at-arms could actually pressurize this dock for Vortex, so this might be a lost fight here on the east side pond, but he does have the west side pond, so not all is lost. But certainly that's a really good early win there for Lucifron in terms of military. In terms of economy though, because the Chinese do have the Song Dynasty, they will be producing villagers a little bit faster. As you can see, the Imperial Academy and the Barbican in the Sun, the landmarks that have been chosen. And well, now we're going to be opting into a blacksmith for some upgrades. Could be Chukunu, that could be the unit of choice here for Vortex, which will do decently well against the man-at-arms. Of course, not the hard direct counter that you get with crossbowmen, but you would have to be in the castle age for that. And that seems a long, long way away. For now, at least. And, well, as we now settle down, the nice thing for the English is that they actually start off with a pack of 8 farms. And that's a lot of food that comes in nice and early in Empire Wars for the English. So it certainly looks like it's going to be Chukanu and maybe Spearmen. And maybe holding off on the Spearmen because there aren't really any cavalry units for the English just yet. Oh, pretty badly housed there, Lucifron, having to use the villages off of farms. As we have an engagement in the middle of the map, while Lucifron does have a dangerous number of units. You know what? A demolition ship could be incredibly nice here for Vortix if he thinks about it. But he doesn't quite have the resources, it seems. Well, actually, you have to check. I don't... Oh, he's not got anything queued up. He's got the resources. He's a bit more gold. A smidge there. If that army gets any closer to that shoreline, could be problems. It's just heading back into the middle of the map. So I hope you guys have been enjoying the castle games on the channel so far. If you have, make sure you give this video a like and maybe consider subscribing to this channel because I will be casting a lot of games from the new DLC with new civilizations, including the likes of the Byzantines and the Japanese and of course the 4 variant civilizations. Really looking forward to that. The longbowman just trying to range the junk there, which should be able to do so. Might lose a couple of units in the process, but the man-at-arm's going to look to try and tank down and also torch down that dock, which would actually be a really big problem for Vortix if this happens. He needs a demolition ship. Does he have one queued up? He doesn't. He's getting more fishing ships. I mean, he could dish out a lot of damage to the man-at-arms if he gets a demo. Go on, Vortix, do it. You got to do it. Spearman charging in with the Chukanu in the back line, and he does have Steeled Arrow, which is absolutely huge for the Chukanu, but will he be able to hold on? I think there's a lot of spearmen will go down to the longbowman, especially on the retreat, which is really hard against the English. That range for the longbowman really helps the cause in the fight. Oh, he's got a... Oh, I can spring ship. I got excited. Oh, it's a junk there. Archer ship. I got excited for a second. Oh, there we are. There we are. We've been waiting for it, the explosive junk. And he's actually dancing around that shoreline a little bit too close for comfort there, I think, Lucifron. Needs to be careful because the demo doesn't take long to come out. Only 12 seconds in total. 4 seconds left. And okay, well, Vortix should bait him in, really. Should go back, but he's not. Okay, well, Lucifron is safe for now. He sees the demo as well if he looks close enough. The Chukanu are going to take the fight, but it does feel like there's a bit too many man-at-arms. The man-at-arms going to tank a lot. There is iron undermesh there for Lucifron, which is the perfect upgrade for this because the man-at-arms just become a little bit more tankier against the burst damage of the Chukanu. But he's going way too close to the shoreline. Where's that demo ship? He's coming in now. The man-at-arms. I've got to be careful with Lucifron demo. Oh, huge shot. And a lot of those man-at-arms do go down, but there's still a few running away. But that was an absolutely huge demolition ship shot there for Vortix, and now Lucifron has to back off. That could be the thing that turns the tide of... Wait, what's that? Visual bug. Holy moly. But anyway, that could be the thing that turns the tide of that fight. And this match, potentially. But having said that, you know, Lucifron doesn't feel deterred at all with those longbowmen. Trying to use the range as much as possible. And now we have the Castle Age coming in for Vortix with the Astronomical Clock Tower, which is absolutely fantastic to get those Nesta Bees, which is enough to cause a bit of trembling of any English Civ player in the Castle Age. Well, we'll see, because Lucifron could consider going to the Castle Age. Maybe with the White Tower, get some siege out quickly. We'll see whether he decides to go for the King's Palace instead. Either way, I mean, he's actually quite far away from that Castle Age. So it's going to be in for a rude awakening here, now that Vortix is in the Castle Age. What does Lucifron do about this? Does he go to be a bit more aggressive, trying to get some damage? Does he head back off and go back home? I think the latter's got to be the better option. Maybe try and attack the woodline first, but because you can almost usually expect that a Nesta Bees would be queued up for Vortix, although one isn't just yet. But a Nesta Bees does really hurt nicely for the Chinese in the early parts of the Castle Age if they can get one out. But the Chukanu might need to try and focus down those man-at-arms getting pegged back. The trouble is if he stops for a second, those longbows will pounce on them. But he does have the veterancy upgrade with those Chukanus now, trying to get the upgrades with the blacksmith as well. Getting wedge rivets, getting the second archer armor upgrade. Alright, well, it's cooling down just a little bit now. Manages to get that junk there with the range of the longbows. And I wonder whether Lucifron is just opting to go to that Castle Age now. It's got a lot of fishing ships there. Holy moly, let's take a quick look. 14 of them. Vortix doesn't have quite as many. The Chukanu going to rush in, and it's probably a good shout here because he does have a good advantage in terms of entry. Although half of the Chukanu aren't getting involved in the fight, which is a bit of an issue. Is now looking to get balanced projectiles, which will certainly help the fight. Does have a couple of palace guards, which will certainly help, but doesn't quite have the numbers here, Vortix. He's really struggling on those numbers. The economy is scaling quite nicely for Lucifron. It's got a lot of villagers, a lot of eco, and I think it's mainly the fishing ship economy. It's actually looking incredibly strong here with 17 fishing boats. It feels like that's paying dividends right now with the food income that's coming in. It's going to go to the castle age before too long. Palace guards might just try and chase this down, but he does have a decent number of longbowmen here, Lucifron. Going to focus on the Chukanu first, and the man-at-arms will trade half decently against the palace guards. But if the Chukanu goes down, that leaves the longbowmen pretty safe. A couple of units kind of being lost for free on the retreat now again, as he often get against the English. Lucifron does look like it's going to be safe to get to that castle edge. Question is, what does he go up with? He's going to go up with the King's Palace, getting himself ready for the late game if it gets there. But, well, he's going to have to try and get there because vortix is going to be aggressive as soon as he sees his opponent in the castle edge, you feel. But the trouble is for vortix, he doesn't have much of a military. No SWs have come out just yet, and he took a really bad trade there, actually, in the end. Just lost way too many of those Chukanus. Didn't have enough palace guards, really, and this is what's so good about civilizations like the English and the HRE. Having that feudal age man-at-arms, these guys can tank a lot of the fights, and they can even kind of hold their own against castle age units if they're in large numbers. And that's exactly what happened today in the middle of that map against vortix. Now, there's that castle age for Lucifron. He's going to head back for now. Just wait until he gets those upgrades. As you can see, the veterancy, or just regular man-at-arms upgrade to make them castle age units coming in soon. But he will be getting I think it's the second melee upgrade there for vortix decarbonization, which will help his palace guards somewhat, but I think this is kind of scary here for vortix. He's behind on economy, he's behind on military, and I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that vortix perhaps didn't invest as much on water as Lucifron did, and it looks like it's paying off very nicely. Now he is going to run out of food on the... well, he's still got quite a decent amount of food there, and he will be happy to, you know, go for farming transitions eventually here, Lucifron, because the farming is not so bad at all for the English. And I think generally the English are very smooth in that regard. Like the kawasan, you're not going to have unlimited fish. But having said that, it does have short fish to take as well anyway. So I think this is a really smart investment in terms of fishing ships. Because like it looks like vortix hasn't really invested that much. And it's really hurting him in that sense. Because even if the deep water fish expire, it's still got the short fish to take. And there's a lot of it. And I think it lasts for a very long time. It really makes it worthwhile, those fishing boats for Lucifron. I suppose, especially because, you know, you get them for cheaper, right? It's only 67 wood versus the 75 you normally get for the other civilizations. And so it's incredibly strong if you can keep them alive. But speaking about keeping alive, Lucifron will need to stay alive now because Lucifron's going to be under pressure with those palace guards and Chukanu. No siege, though, for vortix on the back of this, so won't be able to do any damage to production buildings all that quickly. Takes the engagement there on the front lines. Man-at-arms for the English, engaging nicely against the palace guards. Longbows on the back line, focusing on the Chukanus first. And if the Chukanu numbers do dwindle, which they are, this is going to be bad for vortix. The network of castles bonus is in play for Lucifron. You can see by the golden hue, and now the Chinese army do have to retreat. And again, as against the English, as always, on the retreat, some units will fall down. The man-at-arms continue the chase. And the question is, where does vortix come from here? Second bad fight in the game. He did have a good demolition ship shot, but will it be enough? I'm not so sure. Going to try and focus down the docks. I think it's the right move if you can do it, but the trouble is those palace guards, well, you get one dock at least, but those palace guards will be very vulnerable to the longbows. The longbows constantly getting a bit closer just to make sure that they pick off as many as they can on the retreat. Palace guards do have a good fast movement speed, though. They do have a movement speed of 1.38 per second. 1.38 tiles, that is. And it's 1.12 for the longbows, so he's going to have to try and be smart about his movement here to try and catch up. Try and go on the wood line. In any case, he's pretty nicely walled up on the west side in the middle of the map. A bit of an engagement with 3 men-at-arms. Not all that much because Lucifron's going to pull out, of course. And, well, it's all steady now. Palace guards coming on the east side, which is actually probably the only vulnerable point here for Lucifron. Got double the army almost. And vortix, pretty equal numbers in terms of economy. He's going to need a big fight, and SWs could add that potential. But we'll see. The man-at-arms numbers are looking good here for Lucifron. I think this is a fight that Lucifron just wins. I don't think SWs can do all that much. It's going to get a lot of damage. But if that SWs goes down to the man-at-arms, it will be curtains. He's trying to surround it here nicely. vortix does get a good surround on Olive. A lot of the fireworks do get shot off on those longbows. A lot of them do go down. But the trouble is, there's just not enough there on the front line, you feel. Man-at-arms looking so strong. They're going to surround that SWs and take the SWs out. Will he get one last shot? He doesn't quite manage it. And now, with his man-at-arms free reign to run on the next SWs, that's a big waste there by vortix. Didn't quite keep it alive, but it's not going to matter because Lucifron takes the game on kawasan. vortix taps out, and well, it's all about the fishing for the English when it's usually their farms. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed the castle game. Take care, and see you next time.